you very much for opening up this video. I really do appreciate it. Now, unless of course you've been on a desert island, you'll note that the crisis in the National Health Service is very topical at the moment. And today, in this series of videos which I'm doing on the NHS crisis, I'm going to explain why there should be no conflict whatsoever between politicians, NHS management and clinical staff. You're probably thinking I'm balmy here, but I'll explain in a second. Very commonly, people think that the NHS management and politicians try to cut down costs at the expense of clinical treatment, and I'm going to show that it's not the case whatsoever. Now, the thing here is, if you follow my videos, you'll see that every day I give you something for free to help with your health, wealth, finances, fitness and fat loss. So make sure you do follow my videos. Now, let's get to the nuts and bolts of today's video. Why there should be no conflict between politicians, NHS management and clinical staff. Let me explain. When I was a third-year medical student, I attended a lecture, and it was one of the speakers was the clinical director of Rotherham District General Hospital. Now, he actually said that when he was a final year medical student, he couldn't understand why there was a conflict between NHS management and clinical staff. And he said some 30 years later, he still couldn't understand why there was such a conflict. And the reason for that is that in every single case, without exception, good quality, well-organised medical treatment is always value for money treatment. In every single case, without exception, the better the quality of the treatment, the lower the cost to the taxpayer. And some of you might be saying, what is this guy on about? Let me give you a couple of examples. Many of you watching this video will have children, and a very, very common condition among children is the buildup of earwax. Now, the mainstay of treatment of that is basically to put some olive oil down the ears, okay, last thing at night, leave them for 10 minutes, then 10 minutes later, get the child to turn over and put more olive oil in the other ear. And then some 6 to 8 weeks later, basically the earwax would have softened and just removed. Okay, that's great. Now, this is what my dad used to do when I was a training GP. What would happen is, patient would come in and parents would say, you know, build up earwax, my son or daughter can't hear properly. Look down the ear and you'll see a build-up of earwax. And what then dad would then do is to say, put this down the ears at night, put 5 or 6 drops, and then basically book an appointment. He would refer the child to the ear, nose and throat surgeon. And he would write on the letter, please delay the appointment by no less than 3 months between the date of this letter and the appointment. The reason being, by the time that 3 months came, in most cases, the earwax would have fallen out by itself, or if it was still there, it would be very, very simple to remove under the microscope. Very easy indeed. But what tends to happen most commonly is that the GP makes the referral, the olive oil isn't recommended, and so the ear, nose and throat surgeon has looked down the ears and said, yeah, fine, put some olive oil down your ears and I'll see you again in 6 weeks. A waste of appointment. Had it done dad's practice been done, this wouldn't happen. Let me give you another example. This is a little bit embarrassing on my part. This, technically, I have asthma. This is my inhaler. It's been at the bottom of my sports bag since 2017. This expired in 2020. You can see here, 2017. And you can also see it expired in 2020. Last year, in August, I had the embarrassing situation where my mum saw that and insisted I get another one. Here it is. You can see there, 15th of August. It's never been opened. Okay. The reason being, when I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 12, my dad got me swimming to such an extent that I ended up swimming for my county. And I've never actually had a problem with it. I work out 5 days a week. Now imagine this scenario. Last time I went to see my GP a couple of years ago, what actually happened was, when he did the annual review, he said, have you kept a peak flow diet for your asthma? No, because he's not having any problems with it. And I just said to him, he examined me, he said, all normal. And I said to him, are you going to refer me to the hospital for a chest x-ray or spirometry? And he said to me, no, your asthma is in such good control. I've actually never used this inhaler. I've never actually used this either, even though it was prescribed for me in 2017. And he said, it's under such control, I cannot justify the expense of sending you for a chest x-ray or spirometry. Now, in my family, there's a big history of diabetes. I work out 5 days a week and I keep my weight under control. And just back, I make sure that I'm at higher risk. But I asked my GP, what's my blood sugar level? She said, it's in the lower range of normal. And I said, are you going to send me to hospital for a glucose tolerance test? He said, no, I can't justify the £200 expense. Now imagine this, you get diabetic ketoacidosis, you are sent to hospital by ambulance, usually. You're then given fluids, urea, they check your urea levels, creatinine levels, can give you a drip feed of insulin, glucose and potassium, and they have to transfer you to intensive care. An intensive care bed takes a minimum of £1,000 a day. If you have an asthma attack, which is life-threatening, you are blue lighted to hospital. You actually have to be nebulized, basically given this stuff by a nebulizer, giving steroids, serial peak flow, serial pulse oximetry, serial arterial blood gases. In extreme cases, you might have to go to intensive care, being given a drug called aminophylline intravenously and oxygenated, again costing £1,000 a day. My asthma has never cost the NHS any more than a prescription of an inhaler, which is never used. So as you can see, in every single case, without exception, well-organised, good quality clinical medicine is always value for money medicine. The better the quality of clinical treatment, the lower the cost for the taxpayer. In terms of organisation, consider this. My grandmother from India, and we paid for her to have 2 operations done privately here. Not on the NHS, we paid privately. Now, she actually had to have a throat and shoulder treatment and a gallbladder removed. My dad, being a GP, organised for while she's under anaesthetic, have both at the same time. Made good sense. If that was done at the NHS, all three, the anaesthetist, the orthopaedic surgeon and the general surgeon who did the gallbladder, would be up on disciplinary charges. It's stupid. A very dear relative of mine has to, in a few weeks' time, has to give a diabetic eye check. At the same time, a few weeks later, the same person's going to be checked for cataracts in her eyes. Do you not think they could do both at the same time, saving appointments? Well-organised, good quality clinical medicine is always value for money medicine. The NHS staff and clinicians and management and politicians need to work together on this. As I said, I welcome your comments, but please remember that good quality, well-organised clinical medicine is always value for money medicine. I welcome your comments. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.